Hello, my name is Monica Goucher, and this is my technology article review for EDUC 576 Advanced Literacy Methods. The article I reviewed was How Can Education Technology Enhance Learning Outcomes, written by Qiyang Zhang of Johns Hopkins University. The article explains an evidence review that was conducted by the Jameel Poverty Action Lab about the impact of educational technology. This article review used only evaluations from developed countries and tested interventions that use technology to improve learning-related outcomes. The lessons that were learned from this evidence review were as follows. They discovered that access to computers and internet do not necessarily improve student grades or test scores. What it did show was that students were more proficient with the computer, but it didn't show any improvement to their learning outcomes. Secondly, educational software used to develop student skills showed improved learning especially in math. However, more research was needed in order to understand why this was so and why these computer-based tutoring programs did not yield improved student learning in other areas such as reading or science. Reminders for students using technology like the Remind app can have some impact on students and are often more affordable. For example, the Remind app is free for teachers and students, and it is an easy way for teachers to send a text message to students as a reminder of materials they need to bring to school, preparing for a test or a presentation, or just if they need to bring something. Students do not have access to the teacher's personal cell phone number, nor do the teachers have access to the students' personal cell phone numbers. Social psychology interventions using technology can have a small but meaningful impact for specific groups of students. And the new technology tools, when they are first introduced, garner interest from school administrators, but there's not enough research to show which tools improve student learning while at the same time reducing inequalities in education. My critique of this article was that it was concise and clear. The evidence review itself is 20 pages long and includes more in-depth explanation of the findings, as well as a list of the 126 evaluations that were included in this review. It also covers major findings from these 126 evaluations and explains the impacts for students' learning rather than focusing on the impact for teachers. And it admits when additional research is needed, such as the use of computer-assisted technology impacting student learning, or when new technology tools produce more significant increase in student learning. The educational connections that can be made with this article are specifically in math instruction, where the research showed that computer-assisted learning programs, also known as computer tutoring programs, did help students who struggled in math concepts to improve their learning. Another connection is that oftentimes the newest technology tool is not necessarily the best technology tool. It's important that teachers and school administrators wait until some research has been conducted to determine whether or not to include this tool in their school. And finally, computers won't replace educators. Just because a student has access to a computer and the internet does not mean that their learning improves. It just means that they are proficient in using the computer. Teachers who are trained to teach using research based strategies that have proven to improve student learning are much more important than the technology itself. My personal reflection is that this validates my beliefs about relationships with students. Just because we use technology in a myriad of ways does not necessarily mean that the technology will replace teachers. In fact, it is the relationships that teachers create with their students that help the teacher identify which technology tools will work with which students. Therefore, it's more important than ever in this era of technology that teachers build warm working relationships with their students. Secondly, it's important that as English teachers, we have to teach our students digital literacy alongside the other literacies of reading and writing. We have to help students to navigate the internet, to understand and how to evaluate various websites to determine whether or not the information included is credible, and help them understand how to use the technology to enhance their education, but that it does not replace their education. And finally, I realized that the newest tech tool might be a lot of fun, but it doesn't always lead to improved student learning. I am a person who loves to try out the newest technology. At my school, when we first started a pilot program for using Chromebooks in the classroom, I volunteered. I was one of the first to be part of that pilot program. Whenever we have a new technology tool, I like to jump on board and give it a try. But I do need to remember that just because it's new and shiny doesn't make it good. Now that I understand this, before I jump on board with some of this new technology, I'll be sure to do some more research into the evidence, see if there's evidence that proves that this tool has indeed improved student learning. Thank you so much for your attention during my technology article review.